morning. It's 10 o'clock. We're about to get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. And a special thanks to Precinct 2 and Commissioner Garcia for having us here today. We are going to talk about the power of your capability statement. We're going to have a lot of fun today, so we want everyone to be engaged. It's a very interactive session. Drop any questions that you have in the Q&A. We'll get those answered. If you've been to one of our sessions before, you know that Julie and I switch off. So when one of us is talking, one of us is managing, the other is managing the Q&A. Emily's going to be dropping some great information, some links into the chat. And then you'll get those links after the session as well. All right, today is all about opportunity. And it's really interesting, the word opportunity. This it's the opportunity for your business. It's opportunity for you to grow. It is about you being successful and taking your business to the next level. So we hope that you are ready. You've got pen, you've got paper. You're going to start putting together your victory plan of how you're going to win a government contract. If not this year, definitely the first part of next year. So Commissioner Garcia has some great information on the Precinct 2 website for you to find out more about. We were just having a conversation about it is very easy to research and to gather more information on what Precinct 2 and Harris County purchase. So we hope that you have been to one of our sessions where we talked about Bonfire. We talked about how to do that research. So get ready to prepare for your meet the buyer and have your capability statement. So in Precinct 2 spent $23 million with minority, women, small, disadvantaged businesses in 2020. I know you want to be a part of that number next year. All right, meet the team of Precinct 2. We do have Jose on the call today. We also have Ann and we have Francis. So these are the individuals at Precinct 2 that keep everything running, that help those small businesses. You've probably, if you've been to any in-person events, have seen Francis at the Precinct 2 booth. So she's joined us today as well. All right, so Jose, you want to turn on your camera and just kind of wave at everyone? I don't know if you want to say anything today.
Sure, no problem. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. I think that the B2G Victory team does a wonderful job of explaining some of the real life things that you need to do to position your business to be successful with not just county government, but all government business in general. So we really want to thank you and thank Commissioner Garcia for being such an advocate of small business owners and making sure that they're successful.
Well, thank you. I have worked with Commissioner Garcia for a few years in a past life, both his and mine. And he has always been an advocate for small businesses. So this has been a very, very interesting few months that we've been putting on these webinars because he is really wanting to grow the DBE spend, not only with Precinct 2, but Harris County in general. So we have a little bit of information about Commissioner Garcia and his commitment to the small businesses in Harris County. When you think about precinct 2, it is a very large area. 1,300 miles of roads, 10 libraries, 12 school districts. And if you are new to government contracting, I highly recommend that you look at school districts as a potential target, a potential client of yours. So, and precinct 2 has 12 in their area. There are 13 community centers. So this is a wonderful place for you to do business and to live. So we're talking about a capability statement today. So you're going to want to have that capability statement, and you want to register to do the Meet the Buyer. During that session, you get to share about your company, highlight the services you provide. Emily's going to drop a link, and how do you register for that? They're every second Friday of the month. And even if you don't have your capability statement done yet, you want to go ahead and get registered. So they do fill up quite quickly. And while it's not mandatory, it is highly recommended that you have that ready so that you can follow up with that buyer with that capability statement. We also encourage you to connect with Precinct 2. Emily will be dropping all of the links to their social media into the chat so that you have that. Follow them, find out what's going on, pay attention. Not only to do business with them, but if you live in the area, it's going to help you know what's going on. So Precinct 2 has, or Harris County has several procurement sites. So there is the Harris County, Texas, Harris County Toll Road, Harris County Flood Control, Harris Health. So think about all of the ways that your company would fit in their supply chain. So let's talk a little bit about our session today. We're going to help you prepare you for opportunities, prepare you to market your company to these different entities, produce that collateral that you're going to need. It's going to save you time. It's going to avoid mistakes. Now, the couple of things it's not. There is no way we can cover everything you need to know about a capability statement in an hour and a half. And of course, our disclosure, this does not guarantee you a government contract with any government agency. So what can you expect? Well, if you've been with us in one of the former sessions, we know that you know that this is engaging. We're going to ask you questions. We're going to have you drop things in the chat. We're going to respond to your question and answers in the Q&A. We will also, if we have time, open the mic up at the end. We're going to give you tools that you can use starting now. We're going to help you put together a victory plan. We want you to listen and participate. If we ask a question, drop that information in the chat. Moving forward, we want you to test drive these ideas. Provide us some feedback. Let us know what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and what your successes are so that we can help you share and celebrate those successes. A little bit about the B2G Victory team. So Julie is one of my favorite people. We have been working together on and off for 20-something years. She was a former certified company when I was at a nonprofit that certified companies. So I got to do her very first site visit. She's been a certified proposal manager for over 20 years. So she knows what she's talking about. And she has taken advantage of many of the programs that are offered in our wonderful area. This is a little information about me. I have been working with small businesses for 20 something years. I love helping small businesses grow. Emily is on the call. She too has been working with small businesses, not 20 something years, but she is also very involved in helping small businesses grow their capacity.
And we've just had Commissioner Garcia join us on the call. So we'll go ahead and pause and let Commissioner Garcia share a few words.
Thank you very much. And I won't take away from this incredible program in your agenda, but I just want to thank you all for participating with Business Together with Precinct 2. I want to thank my team in particular for their good work, and just really to share with everybody, this is our effort to ensure that anybody who's a small business today, hopefully won't be one tomorrow. We want to see you grow. You are businesses in the precinct. I care about you immensely. And just as a point of reference, when I came into office, we were doing a very, very small fraction of business with Precinct 2 area businesses. And thanks to the good work of Jose Jimenez and Mr. Medrano and the rest of my team, we actively look for those businesses that are within the precinct, because I know that if we can build a relationship together and it succeeds, that it'll help you grow, it'll help the precinct grow, it'll help us bring better paying jobs, and you'll give hopefully a kid from the neighborhood an opportunity to start a great career. So I just want to say that I'm very, very excited about the Business Together program. And again, I just can't thank my staff enough. They know that building capacity in our community is important to me, and everything you guys do and your willingness to go through these classes. Look, it's really, really exciting when you can get a county contract. It really is. But it's also can be the worst nightmare if you don't know how to do your billing, how to submit your invoices, and then you wonder why you haven't gotten paid in quite some time. But I also tell you this, that I'm paying attention to the other side of the equation. Historically, or let me put it like this, there is a law in Texas called the Prompt Payment Act. Don't know when it was passed. I didn't even know it existed until I started to do some research. Come to find out, this law existed, and it fundamentally means that government ought to pay your invoice as quickly as possible and within a very set time frame. Well, the county was not compliant with that law, and because that law is complaint driven, a vendor has to complain that they have not gotten paid. And obviously, vendors are sometimes shy to do that for obvious reasons. Well, as an old policeman, longtime policeman, I believe in complying with the law, regardless. And so we have done some work at Commissioner's Court to make us compliant with the Texas Prompt Payment Act. And we have just adopted a schedule so that in between Commissioner's Court meetings, historically has been wasted time that keeps businesses like you and others from getting paid. So now we have just established business court meetings so that invoices that need to be approved, final items related to transacting out those payments can be approved. Now we'll have a set meeting to happen at Commissioner's Court. This is my commitment to you. My daddy was the owner of a small business, and I remember walking into the kitchen and seeing invoices laid out all over the place. My mom, besides being a mom and cooking for 6 growing kids, was his administrative assistant, the secretary, and you know how it all works. So those memories is what drives me to ensure that we're paying attention to the small businesses of today and ensuring that it doesn't have to be that hard for you going forward. So again, thank you all for participating in this Business Together webinar. And again, I want to thank all the presenters. Again, to my team, Jose Jimenez, who helped us launch this, Tico Hausman, Jose Medrano, Jeremy Harris, everybody who's in the middle of the process for ensuring that we're giving Precinct 2 businesses an opportunity to participate and grow. Thank y'all.
We appreciate you stopping by today. I know you have a very busy schedule. So I do have a random question.
Okay.
Do you still have your pink hard hat?
I do. I do. I don't, it's not in this particular office, but I do have it.
Okay, I have a picture of you in that pink hard hat.
Hey, look, my wife is a Mary Kay Cosmetics sales director.
Pink
So
hard hat.
I've been in a pink hat and a hard hat, and I've been in a pink Cadillac. Thank you all. Y'all have a good one. Be safe.
So much, sir.
All right, that was, we appreciate Commissioner Garcia coming by. So we've introduced you to our team. We also have Bella. We are going to drop our social media into the chat. We hope that you connect with us and find out upcoming seminars. We've got some exciting things happening in the next few months. So join us and be a part of that. All right. So let's talk about your victory plan. So today, as we're going through all of this information about capability statements, how to use those capability statements, start jotting down, what are you going to do next week? Because today's Thursday, so this week is pretty much over. What are you going to do next month, which is, by the way, getting really close to the end of the year. So what are you going to do by the end of 2022? And then what's on your plan for 2023? It's time to get started. It's time to get that government contract. Again, if you can't get it this year, let's plan on first quarter of 2023. So our agenda today is, what is a capability statement? How do you maximize your marketing efforts with that piece of collateral? Competitive research, and then of course, next steps. Again, I'm going to remind you, drop any questions that you have in the Q&A, and then you will get links dropped into the chat. So watch for that. And we also will have a post-session folder on our website with all of those links. So don't think you have to copy them all during the session. We'd rather you be taking your notes about what you're going to do. So all of those links will be shared. All right, so let's start out with, what is a capability statement? Julie and I are going to do our first switch of the day. So she's going to come back over and talk a little bit about that capability statement. Julie.
Thank you so much, Susan. So what is a capability statement? We've used this word quite a bit. So some of you may be new to government contracting, and some of you have been around maybe for a while. But what it is it's your company's resume. And its purpose is to communicate to potential business partners, stakeholders, suppliers, customers, and even future employees about your business and its capabilities, right? And so it's just short and sweet, and it's all about your business, the value that you can provide, and the benefits and advantages of going with your company. So it tells your story. And I like to think about it as this one page that pulls your business plan, your business model, and really helps you think about what your business focus is all together in one document, that when you have those opportunities that Commissioner Garcia was talking about, you are ready. Because in order to take advantage of all of these opportunities, you need to be ready. People aren't lucky, they're ready and they're consistent. And so when you take all of these different pieces of your story, which is your business plan, your business model, and you spend the time to focus, your capability statement shares these elements and just helps you be ready. Once again, if you have a capability statement, put that in the chat. Let us know, right? How many of you have a capability statement and how many of you don't? Also, if you have a capability statement, congratulations. Put your shoulders a little bit farther back. When was the last time that you actually looked at it and made sure that it combines your business plan, your business model, and your business focus, right? So you need to dust it off and kind of update it. We encourage at least every 6 months, at the bare minimum every year. And the next question I'd like for you to drop in the chat or in the Q&A is, have you booked your buyer meeting with your capability statement with Harris County Precinct 2, right? So if you already have a capability statement, yes or no. If you have one, when was the last time you created it? And if it's ready to rock and roll, then go ahead and schedule your buyer meeting with Precinct 2.
So we have several people that have them, several that have it in draft form, and some that are very interested in having one.
Awesome. That's great. And everybody is going to move along very nicely with your different stages, right? So depending on where you are, then you're going to make progress and you're going to add that to your victory plan. So set a goal of, if you don't have it, when do you want to have one by? If you're, want to make changes, when do you want to have those changes by? And then when are you going to schedule your appointment? So with your capability statement, and when you're talking to buyers, you want to make sure that you understand the different relationships that occur in this space. And there's one very common relationship, which is a prime and a subcontractor. And when you're starting to get work in the government space, you might want to start out as a subcontractor, right? Make sure that you can complete the work. So the client or the agency is Precinct 2, then there's a prime, and then you can have multiple subcontractors on a job. And it's really important, going back to your business focus on your capability statement and being able to articulate that. What is it that you do, and what is it that you do really, really well? So a common example is if we were doing a renovation project, right? So Precinct 2 sends out an opportunity to do some renovation. So the prime could be a general contractor or project manager. So that company would serve that role. Then it's going to go get 3 different companies. One is going to do painting and sheetrock, one is going to do electrical, and one is going to do HVAC. So in this example, if I have an HVAC company, then my capability statement is going to focus on heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And I can be a subcontractor on that team to help this renovation project be successful. So when you've got this capability statement ready to go, not only does Precinct 2 want these back to those prime contractors, right? And those could be in the construction space, those could be in the staffing space, they could also be in IT as well. So we've got some examples there of different prime contractors. A huge variety of government entities will request your capability statement. If you're interested to maximize your certifications, you can also do business with Fortune 500 companies. So just like Commissioner Garcia and Precinct 2 are really making conscious and active efforts to increase their spend with small businesses, minority-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses, many Fortune 500 companies have very similar goals. So the investment in having a really good capability statement you can use on various objectives to help diversify your business. Also, when you go to funding sources, when you go to make sure that you have a line of credit for your company or to get a loan, we're seeing very frequently funding sources asking for your capability statements. So when you're out and meeting Francis with Precinct 2 or other government agencies at different events, you're going to want to hand them your capability statement. They don't want this big fancy brochure or a pocket folder with inserts that always fall out, or to say, go visit my website. They want that one-page capability statement. So then when they return, she and the Precinct 2 team can go and get that to the proper department. And even better, when you're also registered on Bonfire. So a business card and a capability statement. That makes it easy and succinct for you as well as you're going to market. The remainder of this session, we're going to go through the common components of a capability statement. And as we go through these, we're going to show you real examples of capability statements that we've done that actual small businesses, just like each and every one of you, use. And the most important thing about that is these examples have gotten results. So Susan and I are going to keep toggling back and forth as we go through these common capability statement components. And because you have taken the time to invest in yourself and your company and be ahead of other companies, we're willing to offer each and every one of you a $50 off coupon for your capability statement to even help you either make revisions or get that needle moving a little bit farther along. So the benefits of having a capability statement is they're fairly easy to create and update. They're inexpensive to print, so you can only print maybe 20 or 30. Then when you're using them as follow-up from the buyers or other government agencies that you've met, or you're marketing to prime contractors, make sure that you can email them electronically, right? And then once you've got your base capability statement, you can build on that as your company needs diversify, or if you start hiring outside salespeople. So here's an example of an actual capability statement before and after. So you want to make sure that your capability statements are branded to your company and that they're unique and they tell your story. They tell your story about what you do, who you've done work with, and why your company is different. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat.
We do have someone with their hand raised.
Okay, we have a hand raised. Okay. If you want to go ahead and unmute your mic or put your question in the chat, we'll go ahead and take it.
They're muted.
Okay, I asked her to unmute. Okay. All right, can you talk? I've got you I asked you to unmute. Are you good?
Okay, we'll catch it on the next Q&A.
Okay. All right, so your identity is really important, and Susan is going to talk about that.
I'll turn it to trip. I love that. All right. So having your contact information seems like an easy thing to remember to put that on there. But when we have reviewed capability statements, that is the one thing that we find that is going to be missing. There is no person to contact. They may have a website, they may have a phone number, but you need to have a person that they're going to call. So here we actually have Henry and his headshot. Now we are putting headshots on more and more capability statements. We started doing that sort of during the pandemic because people didn't know, you weren't out and about. They didn't have a face to put with that. So if you have a professional headshot, you may want to consider that, but you definitely want to put your contact information. Now, if you're officing from home, you don't want the address on it. Obviously, you don't want random people showing up at your house, but you can put your website, your phone number, your email address. but make sure to include the name of the person that they're going to be calling. And just putting your website information is not contact information. So DUNS number. So that helps identify you. Now, it is true that the System of Awards Management, affectionately known as SAM, no longer requires a DUNS number to be registered on SAM. However, some entities are going to require that you include your DUNS number. So we highly encourage you to go ahead and get that DUNS number. It is free. You can receive it in one day. They will try and sell you things. Your DUNS number is free. So make sure you put that on there. Here is the website where you can register for a free DUNS number. You can also include links to your social media. These capability statements can be made interactive so that when you are sending it virtually, you're sending it via email, they can click on those links and go straight to your website. Or you can actually put like your Facebook handle on there so that they can go out and look. Because you know, and I know that when you're out meeting people out and about, you're checking out their LinkedIn when you get back, right? Maybe you're going to their Facebook page. So you want to include that information. You want to make sure that it matches your capability statement. And if you are giving out your personal social media, make sure the post you have on there is appropriate. Or you can just stick with your business pages. So now you want to make sure that you are also including certifications. You want to list any certifications that you have, and we're going to kind of break down that a little bit, but make sure that if you were including business certifications, such as minority or woman-owned business, that those are current, not pending, and they have not lapsed. So Henry is a MBE with the city of Houston. He is also a historically underutilized business with the state of Texas. So here are some different certifications that you might consider. HMSDC, Houston Minority, the state of Texas Hub, TxDOT, Metro, City of Houston, WBEA, South Central Texas, and the SBA 8A certified. So find out what certifications your target market is looking for and go out and get those certifications. Keep in mind, it is not an immediate process. It can take 90 days or more. So that information goes on to your capability statement. Here are the list of the certifications. Also, insurance. All right, we've showed you Greg's a while ago. This is his before and after. All of his certifications, his minority certification, his City of Houston certifications, he is Section 3, he is Higher Houston First, and he is Metro. You will see Greg out and about and really working to maximize those certifications and handing out those capability statements. And with his, we've actually included his certification numbers to make it easy to look up. So business certifications aren't the only certifications that you want to include. So maybe you have some industry certifications, your OSHA, your project management, Six Sigma, Microsoft of your IT. So you want to include those certifications as well, because it shows that you are an expert in your field. So here's MWA architect, and we have listed his industry certifications. So you can do that by words. You can use their the symbol, but you want to make sure that you're including that information because your potential client needs to know. So maybe you carry specific brands. So you deal with copy machines, printers, you're Sharp. You do lawn equipment. So you are a steel carrier. So different ways that you can say, this is the brands that we carry. This is the particular to the industry. All right, so here are two different samples. So one of them is Nita Cargo. You'll see the graphics that showcase how they get the cargo, how they transport the cargo, planes, ships. And on turf equipment, we've actually listed the brands that they carry in their store and a picture of their store, since they actually have a storefront. All right, any questions that you have dropped in the Q&A? We're all good? All right, so now we're going to move to the next puzzle piece that makes up your capability statement. We're going to talk about the services you provide. Now, focus on the services that your company provides in-house. Have you ever been to a networking event where people are standing up and doing their 30-second elevator speech, and somebody goes on and on and on and on about all the different services they can do, or they start asking, well, what is it you're looking for? I can do that. So focus on what your company does. So here we're showing the service and capability statements of Wilson Unlimited. So he does engineering, consulting, project management, and subcontracting. Those are his high-level services, and then we've broken down a little bit more detail for those services. So everything that his company provides. So that way he can showcase those services. Now, someone had dropped in the Q&A or in the chat earlier, what happens if you're a new company? Well, Wilson Unlimited was a new company when we did his capability statement. So if you'll notice, there's a section under his headshot that says owner's experience. This is what he has done in his past life before he opened his company. So that is one way that you can answer that question and still have relevant information. You just need to make sure that you show that it is the owner's previous experience. I hope that answered that question from earlier. You also want to have your NAICS codes, your North American Industry Classification System codes. Those are used by federal entities or entities that have federal money. And then your NIGP codes, which are used by state, school districts, cities. And this is how buyers determine what services you provide. So here we have Shefio, and we have a list of all of her NAICS codes and her NIGP codes. And NIGP is the National Institute of Government Purchasing. Now, we only had room for just the codes on her capability statement. She's got a lot going on. So, but she needs to know what those codes mean. So make sure you have a little cheat sheet in your portfolio or in your wallet. So if anybody asks you what a 3750 NIGP code is, you know that that is bakery products. So know your codes, know what they mean. And, you know, you will often have multiple codes, both NAICS and NIGP, but you don't want to have 27. We highly recommend that you keep that to 12 or under for each. Here is where you can find your NAICS code, and then where you can find somewhere where you can find your NIGP code. Emily's going to drop those chats in the chat. If you don't know your codes, you need to take the time to do the research to find what codes fit your company. In this world, those codes are going to help you find opportunities. You can do these searches by description. You can do these by, if you know your code. So who knows their NAICS and or their NIGP code? So you can drop that in the chat. Let us know if you've already done that research. Yes, I know both. That's awesome. We often get companies come to us and we're working with them to find those codes. So I am very happy to see that people do have them. All right. So another way to sort of explain your services is what industries do you serve, or industries that you're concentrating on. So Happy Me Teas does K through 12, sports, higher ed, government agencies, and nonprofits. So those are clients. She's had clients in each of those industries, and she is focused on increasing those numbers. All right, Julie is going to come back and she's going to talk about operations. You are busy over there.
I have been typing and typing and typing away. I would love the engagement. Thanks, and keep the questions coming. Operations. So where do you operate? What is your geographic reach? And I think this is really important, just like Susan talked about, you know, what are the services that you offer? What is your reach? You know, if you are only in the area of Northwest Houston, that's okay, then only be in Northwest Houston. If you can, you know, support, you know, from the Woodlands all the way down to Galveston, then say that. If you can, you know, the state of Texas, but don't overpromise and underdeliver, right? So make sure when you're talking about geographic reach in terms of the operations section in your capability statement, it is stuff that you know you can do, that you and your crew can do. So here we've got an example of a textile company. And when we talked with them and we're developing their capability statement, it was important to their customers and their target where they wanted to grow their business to know where those mill locations were. So we illustrated it visually, as well as we listed that they can reach, you know, local, state, national, as well as international, but that their headquarters are here in Houston, right? And so here with Accountants on the Go, this is also, we've had quite a few questions about, you know, my company's pretty new. So how do I do a capability statement? She's within her first year of business as well. And so you can see that she can do national reach, right? And the emphasis is on her, right? Because she can do accounting services all across the nation. Maybe if you are a little bit larger of a company and you want to list additional cities. So here's an example of a survey engineering and architectural firm that has 3 locations. And so we made sure, if you do have multiple locations, to put that contact information for each location. So once again, you've got this 1-page capability statement that you can use for all sorts of things. So for this example, they can use the same capability statement anywhere within the, you know, the state of Texas, because they're in East Texas as well as College Station, and in Louisiana. So I don't have to worry about making sure if I've got, you know, different versions of it. Keep those questions going. So why you? Why would Precinct 2 want to do business with your company, right? And you need to make sure to differentiate yourself and your company on your capability statement so you stand out. We've already shown you all of these customized examples of capability statements that are branded to that company. So it automatically, from the first impression, when you're meeting the buyer, you're already branding yourself and setting yourself apart. But what are those other steps? How can you differentiate your company and make it easy when you're having that buyer conversation and you're giving them the best 30 minutes of your day, those best 30 minutes of your week? How are you articulating it? And use your capability statement during these meetings. Not all of us are natural salespeople, and you can use it to kind of guide both of you, yourself and the buyer or the prime contractor, through the discussion and in a logical, orderly fashion that keeps everybody on track and keeps you in a concise and clear communication pattern, right? Because when you're scheduling your buyer meeting with Precinct 2, you only get 30 minutes. So make sure that you're making the best of those 30 minutes. In your value proposition, this is also a great opportunity to communicate your passion. Maybe why did you take the leap to become a small business owner? And you can put that there. So here's an example of a value proposition. Alrighty, so if you don't have a value proposition or it's under development, here's some ideas to help you move that along. So what is a value proposition? It is a clear understanding of exactly the products and service that your business offers. And I'm going to repeat that again because it is so important. Susan talked about focus, a clear and understanding of exactly what products and services your business offers. What does your business do, right? And once again, if you put this on your capability statement, you will stand out when you talk about the benefits and advantages that you provide, not features. Your competition provides features. What do you do? Think in terms of solutions. If you are looking at your current capability statement and you go to your competitor's website and it's the same exact words, more than likely those are features. Think about why people choose you. People do business with people that they trust and they like, right? So why do people choose your company? So a few other things in crafting a value proposition, because it is so critical. Know your competitors. I already talked about that, right? And why should a potential client use you instead of them? So put on a hat, put on your customer hat. Why would they call you? And if you're having problems kind of figuring that out, because sometimes it's hard to focus on you, think about these questions. What is the one thing that happily surprises people about my business? What is it, right? And when a client or a customer works with you, they discover what? What are those other things? Maybe you were hired to do A, but now you're also helping them with X, Y, and Z, right? When they hire me for blank, in addition, they get blank. Here's another really great one that talks in terms of added value. My company goes above and beyond when it comes to what? When it comes to communication, when it comes to project scheduling, when it comes to budget, when it comes to our 24-hour response. So those types of things can help you craft your value proposition. Another thing to help differentiate you from the competition deals with risk management, right? And that and specifically is insurance. And so your insurance coverage you want to list on your capability statement, right? So this example, they have 2 million of general liability and 4 million aggregate total. Their professional liability is 5 million and their workers' comp is 1 million. So depending on the types of products and services that you offer will require your different insurance limits. All right, so don't feel like you have to have this much insurance, and do your research. Go to Precinct 2, go on Bonfire and look at past bids and the types of services and products that you provide, and you will see the types of insurance requirements that you're going to need. So where do I go and get that information? Well, when you get a certificate of insurance, a COI, from your insurance provider, this is where you find those things. So the first thing is your general commercial liability, then your automobile liability. If you are going on site, then you're probably going to need automobile liability. Then you've got your umbrella coverage, your professional liability, which is also known as errors and omissions, and cyber liability. We are seeing more and more requests for small businesses, regardless if you're a prime or a subcontractor, to make sure to have cyber liability, because we're emailing lots and lots of information. And then if you're in construction specifically, you might have some bonding requirements. So another way is, how do you build trust and how do you differentiate yourself from the competition? Why you? Well, we can talk all day long about how awesome we are. And my mom can come and say how awesome Susan and I are too. But references, right? When somebody else says how awesome you are, that carries even more weight. So if you have references, and this goes back to whether they're personal references that have worked with you and can attest to your work ethic and your work product, they can be references on your capability statement. When they're, companies that your company has worked for, you can also add them as well. And we like to say, have at least 2 to 3 references on your capability statement. So if you've got room for 2 to 3, we want to always have 3 at all times, right? And so we want to think about what these business references might be. And as you build on that, you might want to have 3 per business line or industry. For example, if I'm a copier company, I sell copiers to higher education, which is colleges and universities, municipalities, and nonprofits. So I might want to have a reference per each one of my industry. Same thing with an architect example. Maybe we do retail, we do sports venues, and we do community centers. So think about that as you're putting down your victory plan and the things that you need to do to either create your capability statement or modify your current capability statement. Is, who are my references? And how does that fit into the industries that I want to go and get more work on? So how do you get a letter of reference or a testimonial? Well, you ask, right? And so also you need to make sure that you get people's permission that you're putting them on your materials. And before you ask, you need to ask yourself, do I want to work with them again? Were they happy? Have we done more than one project together? Did you leave the project on good terms? Would they use you again? And are you still doing work for them? So these are some types of questions that you need to make sure to ask yourself. All righty. And when you ask ask someone to be a reference or a testimonial, make sure that they know what you would like for them to talk about, right? So be as specific as possible. So, hi, Mr. Smith, would you be willing to be a reference for me? And would you be willing to talk about the challenge we had on this project, the amazing solution that we came up with, and the positive impact that it not only had to the project, but the neighborhood and the community as a whole? Oh, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to do that, right? So see how that's a much better and much more focused and targeted conversation than, can you just be a reference? So we've got some other examples there on the slide in terms of like results. So did we save money, any cost savings, or did we perform on schedule or ahead of schedule? And we can go on. So let them know once you've had that conversation or you've sent the email and they have replied back, you want to make sure that you express your gratitude. And you also need to let them know that you're listing them on your capability statement, right? And get permission, because when that reference gets a call from someone in precinct 2, and they may not live in precinct 2 or have ever done business in precinct 2, well, why would precinct 2 be calling me? Oh, that's right. I gave them permission to put me as a reference, or if they received an email. So you want to make sure that your reference knows that you're using them on marketing materials. All righty.
We have one hand raised.
We have one hand raised.
Kiara Phillips.
Okay,
And now we have no hand raised. Okay, never
Okay.
mind.
all right, we're gonna shift and Susan's gonna talk about experience.
So we listed our references on there, which talks a little bit about experience, but how can you really get someone to visualize the different work that you've done? Well, let's talk about our experience. So with Texas Shredding, she really wanted to showcase all of the different industries, all of the different types of clients, both private and government. So we have listed their logos across the bottom. Just a really subtle way. It gives her capability statement a pop, and it showcases what experience she has. Again, this is a different way to do it. You can do bullet points. You just list the companies, but this is really kind of that visual. Off the side of Strack, we have what we call about the numbers. So those large numbers: 9 years in business, 8 new homes, 178 remodels, and 7 commercial projects. And those numbers can be updated really quickly as you move along. And so again, we talked about updating it about every 6 months, going ahead and adding to those numbers. You see those numbers growing. So that's a good way to show that past performance. Let's go back to Wilson. You'll see that we actually have pictures of projects that he has done. And we have the about the numbers. He's done 110 projects, 26 years of experience, 50 hours of OSHA training. He has a 50-hour OSHA certificate. Again, it's listed under his owner's experience. This is past experience that he has done. So one of the things that you can also add is the fact that you are part of a co-op. So we have tips, we have choice partners, we have the GSA, buy board. So that's not only a great way for you to kind of showcase some experience, because, well, it's a process to get in there. You have to be vetted to get into those. But it also is a great way to find opportunities, because this is not just about marketing. This is about finding an opportunity. You can also list any industry organizations, leadership positions within those organizations, any awards, accolades, and accomplishments that you, as the owner or your company, has received. So if you're part of these industry organizations or part of a certifying body such as HMSDC or WBEA, when they send out that email asking for nominations, go ahead and nominate yourself. Talk about your what you've done over the last year. Most people are a little uncomfortable with that, but that is a great way, because who knows what you've accomplished better than what you do. All right, so talk about industry involvement. We have on Soledad, we talked about all of the different community involvement, as well as her recent speaking engagements. With Wyona, we talked about her industry certifications, as well as she received an award for the ACHI Magazine Award, Woman of Inspiration. So she wanted to make sure that was included in her capability statement. Here we have for sports and wellness, we have listed her achievements and accolades because not all of them were awards. So she is a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. She wanted to make sure that was included because that is a very important program that she attended. All right, we got any questions over there? Nope, okay, we're moving on. So we have provided, we're going to flip through rather quickly some additional inspiration and ideas of what these look like. So you'll notice each one of the capabilities that we have shown, statement that we have shown you so far is different. If these are branded to your company and they are unique to you. All right, one day came. This is construction. Here we have an engineering company as well as a product capability statement. This is again back into the construction, solar panels and paving. Here's construction. I promise we do more than construction. Here's financial planning. Ramada does leadership training. Custom homes. All right, so I hope y'all found one that just really caught your attention. And we are going to talk about next steps. So Julie will be back up here.
So now we're going to, so now we're going to envision that you have your capability statement ready to go. So maybe you've taken some inspiration from some of those examples that we've shown you, and you are ready. So there are 4 W questions that we need to make sure to answer, which are who, what, when, and why. So who are the buyers, right? And so you've got to meet the buyer with precinct 2. You also have other meet the buyers with other government agencies. Then when you're talking to those buyers, what specifically do they buy? Because different buyers buy different things. You might have a FF&E buyer, which is a furniture, fixtures, and equipment. You might have a construction buyer. You might have a professional services buyer. So those types of things. Ask them, what do they buy? Then another question is the when. When do they buy your goods and services? Is it on call? Is it monthly? Is it yearly? Is it every couple years through a larger RFP process? So make sure to ask them. And when they say, well, what goods and services do you provide? Well, you've got your capability statement right there that you can have a concise, compelling, and focused conversation with. And then why? Why do you want to do business with Precinct 2? Why do you want to do business with Harris County? Or why do you want to do business with HISD? You need to make sure that you can answer these questions. All righty, so now that we've got these 4 questions answered, we need to visit and register as a vendor. So with Precinct 2, we need to go to Bonfire. And you could spend hours and hours and days and even weeks doing all of the registrations. So think about what your top 5 agencies are. And we're going to make that even easier for you because Precinct 2 can be one of them. So now you're only down to 4, right? And so we've already said this quite a few times, go and do your meet the buyer and schedule with what time works with you, right? And here on the website is the projects, and this is the project dashboard. So this is projects by listing. So here's construction projects with their status. So this is a great place to start off with understanding the opportunities in Precinct 2, understanding the types of goods and services that they buy in specific construction, right? Then you can also go to Harris County Purchasing. So there you're going to log in and register. And when you go to Bonfire to register your company, here's a little secret. The majority of the information that they're going to ask for is on your capability statement. So you're already there. You've already done a lot of heavy lifting. Then when you're there and you log in and register, you can go and look for current and historical opportunities. Here's a great screen capture of Harris Health. Maybe you are in healthcare life sciences focus. So on the Harris Health System website, it breaks it down into how they purchase. Precinct 2 also does this as well. And there's a video that we did last month on our YouTube channel that walks you through the different types of purchases, whether they're formal or informal, and how that entire process works. So Harris Health has that for you too. Then Port Houston, which is located in Precinct 2. So you can go to Port Houston and go to procurement, and then there are their open bids as well. So a couple different places to go for opportunities as you do your research and you get ready for your meetings. The City of Pasadena purchasing website is right there, and there's their bid opportunities, as well as how do you apply for bids. So you need to do a vendor application, just like Harris County's bonfire. The City of Pasadena wants you to be registered as well. And you're going to get the majority of the information when you're doing your vendor registration from your capability statement. Also, we talked about, when we started this session, we talked about the prime and subcontractor relationship. Prime contractors go to these databases to look for small, women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. So once again, if you're interested in doing work in this space and diversifying your business offerings in the government space, make sure that you get registered. All righty. And Aldine School District, here's examples of opportunities from Aldine Independent School District. You can see that there's glass products, there's kitchen maintenance, photography, travel and tour services, a box truck that they need. So government agencies buy everything, right? And so you can see here when it was posted and when the deadline is. So we've got a couple of opportunities that are due here very shortly, the 22nd, then 26th. And then these other ones are open and due in May of 2022. So we've got our capability statement ready. So what does its journey look like? Where can this physical piece of paper or your electronic capability statement, what is the journey that it lives on? Well, depends on who you give it to. So you can deliver your capability statement to the state coordinator, right? If you're interested in doing work with the 178 state agencies that want HUB certified businesses, your liaison officer, your supplier diversity person, if you're interested in doing work in the corporate space, or business development or project manager for a prime contractor. So all of these people, depending on what their titles are on their business cards, they are all buyers. They can all help you either find the right person that buys you, or they might directly be the buyer. So how are you going to distribute your capability statement? Well, we're back to peopling, as Susan and I like to call it, conferences and events. You know, Francis spends a ton of time out in the community representing Precinct 2 at various events. One-on-one meetings, those can be virtual or those can be in person. Also, back to those opportunities, attend a pre-bid meeting, whether that's a virtual pre-bid meeting or an in-person pre-bid meeting, because formal opportunities of over $50,000 or more have goals for certified businesses. And you want to be one of those certified businesses that is ready, that is prepared when those opportunities come. Education opportunities are like this. You never know if there's going to be another company in the chat that, because they might need somebody else to help them on their project as well. And then mail, you can, print and mail a physical capability statement to someone that you've talked to as a follow-up to set yourself apart. Another place that your capability statement journey can live on is on your website. So here's an example of Greg with Honesty Construction, and his capability statement is on his website. So all of these different people that touch your capability statement and look at it are buyers, right? And then most importantly, that they can help you generate money. right? And help you expand and build your capacity in your business. So once you've met with these people, we've got a couple of suggestions for your roadmap for success on your capability statement. Back to, you can print some hard copies. You don't need to print 500. You don't even need to print 100. You can print 25 or 15 or however many you'd like to, right? Because we don't want to have a huge expense. Email those capability statements within a week after you've met someone, regardless of what their role is, right? And then schedule a phone follow-up. And when you're doing a Zoom, you can share your screen, or Teams meeting, share your screen and have the capability statement pulled up on the screen to help you navigate and talk through the benefits and advantages that they have with going with your company. So in closing, we're going to wrap it up here. And we hope that as we went through the different components of your capability statements, that you indicated in your victory plan, is that something that I need to do next week? Is that something that I need to do in 2022, in the fourth quarter of 2022? Or is it something that could wait to 2023 in either Q1 or Q2? We've got a survey. We'd love for you to fill out the survey. Another thing that could help you in your victory plan is those who complete the survey will go into a drawing for an hour of free coaching and consultation with Susan and I and the B2G Victory team. So any questions that you've got, make sure to complete the survey. We'll put your name in a drawing and you can win the coaching session. We love to share and celebrate each other's successes. And when we develop our curriculum for these sessions, we want to make sure that each and every one of you has at least 3 to 4 takeaways that you can put immediate action items on. So we talked about your victory plan, but what can you do immediately that provides value to you and your company to help you do work in the government space? So if you could, and y'all have been great and tons of interaction in the chat, go ahead and share what are those 3 to 4 takeaways that you can use because you invested in yourself, because you took advantage of an opportunity with us today that will help you change your business and help you be successful. So your victory plan, we are posting on our website. There's post-session materials from today with all of the links. So if you take your phone and you click on the QR code, it will go to our website and it'll go to the past session folder. So maybe a few things that we'd like to share that could be on your victory plan. We've already talked about maybe creating or updating your capability statement. Make sure to connect with Precinct 2 in Harris County. Tons and tons of opportunities. You know, Commissioner Garcia and the entire team at Precinct 2 really are committed and want to help you be successful growing your business with Precinct 2 and Harris County opportunities. Do your schedule with Meet the Buyer. Register on Bonfire. Go ahead and register and do the research on those bids. And like Susan said, you know, when you're looking at bids and opportunities, attend a pre-bid meeting. And it might be not the 100% exact fit for what your goods and services are. But once you've gone through one of those, then you know what to expect. You know how to prepare for the next one when that opportunity does come. And it is the perfect opportunity for you and your company. You're already prepared and you know how the cadence goes for them. One of those items was connect with Precinct 2. So here's all of their social media. They are extremely active on social media. So please, whichever channel that you're active on, connect with them and get updates for other sessions and seminars like today, other opportunities when things drop. They're really good about posting those on their social media as well. And one last plug, we want to make sure that you fill out the post-event survey. That's how we know what and how to cater additional seminars for Precinct 2. And like I said, if you complete your survey by Monday at 5 o'clock, you'll be entered into a drawing for a 1-hour coaching session with the B2G Victory team. We've got some time for some additional questions and answers. So please put them in the chat if there is something that you came here to learn today that we haven't had a chance to cover. Please put that in the chat and we'll go ahead and answer it. And Emily just dropped all of our contact information as well. Quick reminder, this entire session recording will be posted on our YouTube, and you will get a direct link to that on our YouTube channel. Our previous Precinct 2 sessions that were July, August, and September. So if you'd like to go and watch those, as well as we have over 50 other videos on our YouTube channel. I see some comments in the chat. Any questions that we haven't had a chance to answer? If there's any capability statement that you liked that we showed previously, put that in the chat and I can pull that back up if anybody wants to get another glance on any of those. I'm going to go back through that section of inspiration that Susan showed, and we can just kind of go through those as well. So here's David Delancey. Can we see that engineering capability statement? Yes, Stephanie, we can. All right, so here's One Day Came. Here's the engineering company, Elite Construction and Engineering. We did theirs. And I think Armada is right here. There's Armada, that's leadership. And they've been in business for less than 2 years. They're on their second year. See some comments regarding some time with us. Emily will put the booking link in the chat, and you can just go ahead and book directly with us through our calendar app on our website. I see, put the first one shown with the owner's corner in the top right hand corner. Henry, okay, perfect. Here's one with the owner in the top right hand corner with Avant Custom Homes. And then I will go to way back. Let me go all the way back to Henry. I'm scrolling through. That's actually, like Susan said, one of the things that we really started doing 39 during COVID is putting pictures because obviously we were doing everything virtual, and it's been very, very, very successful. Got a question and answer.
I got it. Are you want to answer it live?
Sure, I can answer it live.
Can it be double-sided, or does it have to be single-sided? Yes and no.
So the question is, can a capability statement be double-sided or single-sided? We highly recommend single-sided, because then if you're in person, then you've got that back of that, your capability statement, so the buyer can take notes on it. Also, if it's double-sided, if you absolutely can't just fit it all on one side, then I would encourage you to make sure that if you do print it, that it's one piece of paper, double-sided, like you asked. But really, the preference is to have a single-sided, one-page capability statement.
All right, we have 11 more minutes for them to pick your brain.
Pick our brain, 11 minutes of free advice. I'm going to go back over the components of your capability statement. And we'll show that slide just as a kind of a refresher. So the 5 major components of your capability statement need to make sure to address your identity, need to make sure to address services, your operations, the why you, and your company's experience. So those are the 5 sections that as you're crafting your capability statement, make sure to address. And time again, we've been doing this for 20 years. And the most common component that people forget is contact information. So you want to make sure, like Susan said, to put a person, a phone number, and an email address. So I know who I need to talk to when I have the opportunity, or if I have a question, or if I want to place an order, right?
Julie, just to help expedite things, we have a couple more questions that are coming through. Somebody asked about thoughts on putting mini project sheets on the back of a capability statement.
Thanks. Yeah, Eric, you could do that if you want to expand a little bit more on your past performance and maybe do a small little project profile. You could, I think, that would be a really good example of why, you would have it double-sided. So for example, here's Wilson's, back to Wilson's Unlimited. He has 2 of his projects right there profiled. If you wanted to put, maybe the start and end dates, the project scope, what the budget was, those types of things, then you could put that on the back. Yep. We've got another question for Stephanie. If the company's rebranded, should you include that in the history? It really depends. I would focus on more of who you are now, and focus your time and energy on the current brand versus confusing people of we were this and now we're that. If the name changed, formally known as, right, then I would definitely address that. But if it's just branding components, I would just spend your time and energy on the new brand. Emily, have I missed any other questions?
Can you hop over to the Avant Custom Homes capability statement? We have someone requesting to see.
Okay, perfect. That one was a lot of fun to do. So you can see right there the order of hierarchy, and we put their value proposition next to their logo with a quote that's very quick and easy to read. When I look at this, your eyes, there's not a lot of clutter. Back to kind of those 5 components of the capability statement. You've got your references, you've got your codes, you've got your insurance, the photo, pictures, of sample projects. And then at the bottom, what do they, what are their core competencies? Residential construction, construction project management, and consulting. And also, when you're having your capability statements electronic, if you have your social media icons, you can also link those, right? So when you open it up and you click on his capability statement, it takes you to his social media, which has a lot more photos and a lot more information. And, back to that reach, he services Greater Harris and Fort Bend counties. He knows his region, he knows his area, he's got his trades in those spaces. He's not trying to do construction in Dallas. He's not trying to do, construction all the way over in Beaumont. This is where I do work. Other capability statements that we want to see. Make sure to fill out the survey, and most importantly, make sure to connect with Precinct 2 on all of their social media channels. Since we were just talking about social media. And thank you for all of the positive comments on today's session. You know, we really try to give relevant examples, real examples to diffuse kind of the intimidation that some of you might have about doing work in government contracting, and let you know that you can do this. It is possible, and there's a formula. And when you follow those steps, you will be successful, and you can grow your capacity for your business, grow your offerings through government contracting. I see land surveying capability statement. We have
Yeah, I think with Johnson and Pace, we only showed their location, but that is the land surveying one I have.
Yeah, let me go up to, let me find it, Johnson and Pace. They offer surveying as one of their services, but as you grow, so when we started doing work with them, we just had one master capability statement. Then we ended up doing a capability statement per discipline for that discipline's leadership, right? So for the principal of each discipline, they have their own capability statement, but this is an overall one. And you can see kind of down there at the bottom where we've got some land surveying information. So we've got those bullet points on the different types of surveys that are done within that discipline. I thought I saw another one in the chat for, where was it? Oh, thank you, Maggie. That last one was very inspiring. Yeah, we really try to make each one unique and original.
All right, so somebody asked if they could do a capability statement for an individual and not a company.
So I think that the closest example that we have of an individual, not a company, is Gina. So she does financial planning, and you know, there's 3 people in her company. What is it? Me, myself, and I, right? And so that's one that really focuses on just her. But government agencies want to do business with companies, so you're going to need to go get a DBA or set up an LLC or some sort of legal entity. So I encourage you to do that.
Julie, real quick, we have several people asking for the best ways to contact us. So I just wanted to point out that I dropped in the chat again, our website, our email, phone, and then how to book a consultation with us. So if you were looking for that information, it just got dropped again just a few moments ago. So go in and snag that.
Thank you. Thank you. We got the question on layout and format. We are doing more and more capability statements landscape versus portrait, because most of them are being emailed. And when you think about the orientation of your screen, right, your computer screens are landscape. So it makes it much easier back to how do I make it easier for someone to do business with me? If I don't have to scroll up and down, or if I don't have to zoom in and out, and I can see all of that information as soon as I open up the file. Landscape is one format that we are doing more and more of versus the portrait format. So we've got 1 minute left before we wrap up and conclude our time together. And I just want to make sure that everyone fills out the post-event survey by Monday at 5 o'clock, so you can be entered into a drawing for a 1-hour coaching session with the B2G Victory team. We've got lots of really exciting things on the horizon for Q1 of 2023. So if you don't already connect with us on social media, please do. subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can, as we post new videos, that you'll get notified. Go and watch all of the videos that are up there. We've got, session recordings that are 90 minutes. Then we've got some videos that are as short as 2 to 3 minutes. If you want some more information on exactly what SAM is or those other types of things. We truly appreciate the opportunity of Precinct 2 to be a part of it and be a part of their Business Together program. We are grateful to Commissioner Adrian Garcia and all of the work that he is committed to and has previously done for all of the small minority and women-owned businesses in Harris County. We thank you for your time together. We thank you for investing in yourself and your business. We'd like to sign off and we hope to see you soon.